All right, well, hello and welcome to this week's football press conference, everyone. A couple of items to go over before we get going here. Of course, the Spartans now 2-0 after their 38-21 win over New Mexico. They'll head down on the road for the first time this year and take on San Diego State, but in Carson. That'll be a Friday kickoff at 6 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. A change for the flagship radio station this week. We will be on 960 AM KNEW as our flagship station. Again, that's just a change for this week, but always you can grab the radio broadcast on TuneIn. Our broadcast will start with a pregame show at 5:30 from Los Angeles. A couple other notes to pass along before we get going here. Next week's game, the next home game for San Jose State will be against UNLV and now has a 7:30 kickoff time on FS2. That's the November 14th game against UNLV. And then with a lot of accolades coming to quarterback Nick Starkel after his performance against New Mexico, he was named the Mountain West Offensive Player of the Week for this week. He also has a star for the Manning Award this week, which fans can go and vote for him for his performance this week. And then Davey O'Brien, Grade 8 Quarterback of the Week for Nick Starkel with his 5-touchdown performance against New Mexico. So a lot for him. And with that, we'll hand it over to San Jose State head coach Brent Brennan.
Okay, good to see everybody. Thanks for stopping by. Last weekend was a good weekend for us. It was really fun. Really fun to see our team play like that. I thought our defense did a great job handling kind of the unknown of what New Mexico was going to be. And then, making some big plays, certainly in the second half and with some stops and some forced turnover. And I was just excited to see us answer it that way. There's always a feeling out period. I don't know that I've ever been in that situation as a coach where you really didn't know what they were going to do coming into a game like that. Even normally when, it's the beginning of the year, you can follow a guy's track record and find out, where they were calling plays before, what they ran. So it's just a really interesting thing. And then, I thought our offense did a fantastic job, executing, and Starkel was fantastic, and as were Bailey Gaither and Trey Walker. Ham had a big play, so there's just a lot of fun stuff happening there. I think on both sides of the ball, I think our kicking game has improved. So I feel good about where we're at. Obviously, we got a real big time football game this week. We're playing a very good opponent, a very mature team. That thing is, they did an incredible job building that program at San Diego State. And I think I mentioned the other night, it's definitely a program that we respect and that, I would like us to be like someday, with what they've done over the last, 10, 12 years. And so it looks like they've, transitioning from Rocky to Brady Hoke, there's been, zero drop off, if any. So, those guys will be ready to go, and we will too.
All right, we're going to open it up to questions. And again, those participants, you can either raise your hand or ask in the chat. But Justice De Los Santos, we're going to go to you first.
Hey, Coach. Justice De Los Santos, Bay Area News Group. You referenced San Diego State. Particularly, I want to go into their defense. They've had the best defense in the conference by points per game allowed so far in the season. What have you seen out of their defense that's allowed them to be so effective in the early going?
Well, I feel like that's kind of where they're at every year. They've always been an absolute monster on defense. Their scheme is a little bit different. They have really, really good players, and they play extremely hard. So I think when you combine those things, they have a unique scheme that they execute at a very high level. You add, talented football players who are mature and know what they're doing. And then when you combine effort with that, it makes them really, really good. And really, obviously, the numbers are evidence of that.
All right, Victor Aquino, you're up next.
Victor Aquino, Mountain West Connection. Stemming off that, the Aztecs, I guess you guys are very familiar with them, and they look really similar to last season. Obviously, awesome defense and running game. And what do you see possibly different or the same, I guess, between a Brady Hoke team now and what was Rocky Long's team in the previous years?
I mean, it really looks the same, Victor. I mean, they're running the football at an extremely high level. They've shown that the first 2 weeks of the season, and then they're getting after people with their defense. And so to me, it looks like they're very, very similar. And there's a lot of carryover there, right? Like Brady was the head coach. He hired Rocky. Brady left. Rocky became the head coach. Brady came back as the coordinator or the D-line coach, and then Rocky left, and now Brady's the head coach. I mean, it's, that thing was kind of built by the same people at different stages of this, whatever 12, 14-year run they've been on.
Okay, Andrew Pang, go ahead.
Yes, Andrew Pang of the 2747 Sports. My question for Coach Brennan, I'd like to touch on a couple areas. First on fourth and short situations. For the past couple weeks, you tried to go for it on fourth down and short, but didn't work. And then there are also penalties. So I'd like to get your thoughts, Coach Brennan, about converting on fourth and short situations and on reducing penalties.
I would say I'm all for converting on fourth and short, and that I don't like penalties on fourth down. So those are things that we need to improve. Fourth and a yard, we need to be able to run the ball and get it. Plain and simple, Andrew. And our team knows that, and our O-line knows that, and our running backs know that. And so we need to do a better job in those situations of getting that done.
Steve Kroner, go ahead.
Yeah, Brent, I'm going to date myself here quite a bit, but I'll see if I can date you a little bit. Do you remember what you were doing in 1982?
Yeah, I was a kid, man. I was second grade, I think, St. Catherine's Grammar School in Burlingame. Yeah, hanging out. But on the weekend, it's funny. On the weekends, I was coming to watch the Spartans with my mom and dad. So, that's kind of a funny deal.
Right. So that's kind of what I'm getting at. I guess the last time you guys were 3-0 was 1982. I remember it distinctly, but I'm really old. But I know you know the history of San Jose State football pretty darn well. What would a win Friday night mean in historical terms for San Jose State football?
I don't really look at it that way, Steve. I look at it, what it would mean for our team, this team. And, the meaning that gets attached to it, because someone else is like, last time you were 2-0 to start the season when Reagan was the president. Like I'm certain that our players don't even know who Ronald Reagan is. The Berlin Wall, they're like, what's that? It's funny how time and just kind of relative time is so unique to every person. But for us, it's more about having a chance to play against a team that has been the best team consistently in the western half of our conference for a long time. That's what it is. And we've had the last 2 years, we've had incredible battles with them, that we haven't won. And so, for us playing well against this team is in my mind, against San Diego State, in my mind, is all about this version, the 2020 team at San Jose State, and and kind of what we hope to do, as we continue trying to build a championship program. If you want to win championships, you got to beat the best people in your conference. It's plain and simple. And so, and watching San Diego State on film, they look outstanding in all three phases. They look excellent in all three phases. So we know we have an incredible challenge facing us.
Thanks.
All right, next we're going to go to Derek Al.
Hey, Coach. Derek Al from the Spear 90.5 KSJS. Kyle Harmon's been real impressive these past 2 weeks, 14 tackles, back-to-back games. How important has he been to your guys' improving run defense?
Kyle's been great. We saw him start to make a move last year. In that regard, he played a lot and played a lot of good football for us. He's an awesome kid. He's a real physical player. He loves football. It's really, really important to him. So it's been fun to see him have the impact he's had, so far in the first few games. And, I'm hopeful that trend continues with him because he works really hard at it. And it's always good to see the guys that work really hard at it get rewarded by good performance. Those two things seem to go hand in hand, although some people or some players have trouble understanding that.
Jackson Moore, go ahead.
Yes, Coach, to follow that, we saw Kyle get dinged a bit at the end of last game. Is he in good shape going into this one?
Jackson, you know we don't talk about injuries. Come on.
My other question was that I believe San Diego State scored more in their first 2 games this season than they did all last season. You've mentioned it's pretty similar, but what have they done to be much more productive this season that you've seen on film?
They are just running the ball at an amazing clip. Their receivers have grown up. You know, the receivers were young players before. Those guys have matured, and they're making some plays. But you know, they're running the ball so effectively, and it's just impressive to watch. And so, you know, I think that part of it, you know, just, you know, I don't know if it's different mindset with Brady in terms of, you know, running the ball, but they are pounding it, and it's impressive.
Justice, back to you.
So to transition from the defensive side of things to the offensive side of things, aside from that first quarter against Air Force, Nick, his transition into this offense it's been pretty seamless. What have you seen from him in terms of his ability to lead and run this offense in the early going?
You know, he was really just a great addition. Like the moment he showed up, he kind of just got in with the guys on the team and did a great job getting to know people and you know, kind of trying to build some chemistry. And then that got, you know, halted for COVID, and so just kind of a strange set of circumstances that way. But I think it helps when you played a lot of football like he has, right? He knows, you know, he's going to be further ahead in his understanding of coverage and defense and those kind of things. And then I think, you know, Kevin McGiven and Ryan Gunderson are doing a great job coaching him. I really do. And to Nick's credit, he's taking the coaching. He's not a senior that's played a lot of football, that's played in the SEC and blah, blah, blah. And he doesn't want to be coached. He wants to be coached. And so, you know, that's one of the, you know, really refreshing things about him is that he wants to get better. He wants to improve every day. And that's how he approaches it.
Okay, Victor, go ahead.
Yeah, offensive line play. Actually, Coach Oglesby. I'm just curious, like, what's his style or approach? Considering, I remember Coach Bernardi and so intense and everything. And I try to watch him, and what's he like? Seems quite opposite from Coach Bernardi. Nothing wrong with Coach Bernardi. Awesome. But
yeah, no,
he seems like he's doing something good there.
I think every coach, if you're good at it, you lean on who you are, right? Who you are a little bit, and don't try to be something you're not. But Josh has a great balance of kind of hard ass and, you know, humor. And so he's really funny. He's always making fun of how big he is. He's kind of self-deprecating, you know, humor all the time. You know, he jokes about when he was in the 8th grade, he was like, you know, 6'4", you know, 270 or something. So he's done a great job building rapport with our players. And so I think that's been really, really positive. He just has a lot of, he's got some unique experience, you know, playing in the Big Ten. He was coached by good people. He was raised in the profession by good people. And he's been an awesome addition to our staff. He's just got a great way about him. The players are enjoying him. And so, you know, I think I'm really pleased so far with where they're at. And I think this game this week is going to be an incredible challenge for Josh and our offensive front. It's going to be awesome.
All right, Jackson Moore, another question?
Coach, so no practice Tuesday, short week, travel. Can you just lay out how you guys are managing this time frame practice-wise?
We practice today, and then we'll practice on Wednesday and Thursday, and we'll get on an airplane, you know. Trying to keep it as normal as we can. I think, you know, with the, you know, what the NCAA is doing with Tuesday, I think is awesome. You know, but I would have liked to practice, to be honest, but I thought the guys did a great job practicing today instead. You know, short turnaround, 36 hours after a game. I thought we had great energy and enthusiasm at practice today. I thought we got some really good work done. So, you know, I think that's, you know, I think the challenge for, you know, San Diego State has the same issue, right? They got a Friday game with Tuesday as not a practice option. So, you know, we're not the only ones dealing with that part of it in terms of playing the game. And I think, you know, everybody in college football, you know, it's easy to lose sight of kind of some of the bigger whatever issues or things that are happening in society. And the reality is that we're trying to elect a new leader of our country, and that's a very important thing. And so giving young people a chance to vote or not to vote, up to them, but giving them the option and giving them time and space to do that and get their ideas together and hopefully, you know, make a good decision for themselves and who they want leading us, I think is a great thing. So I'm all for it.
All right. Any other questions for Coach Brennan?
Lawrence is waving.
Yeah, we need to unmute James here. Hold on here. James, you need to unmute yourself.
I've got it.
Hey.
Hi, James.
Hey,
Who's James?
I am down in Burbank, California, near all the studios.
Okay.
And this game is actually a really cool game for me because, unfortunately, I wish I could go down there, but with the COVID restrictions, you know, I completely understand. I've got 3 kids in my area. Chance Bell, one of San Diego State's top running backs, and as well as 2 of your kids, Jesse Chamberlain and Scott Breslin. I was just going to, I mentioned in there on the thing there, if you need a scouting report on Chance Bell,
got it covered.
Jesse knows him really, really well. And I just wanted to get a comment from you on, you know, Jesse and Scott and what kind of contribution they've been to your club so far.
They're awesome. They're doing great. Jesse's playing a lot of football for us. Scott is in a backup role right now, but pushing to get into the mix. Both outstanding young men, great, you know, members, 3.0 wall members. They're just, those are 2 really, really quality people. And I'm so happy they're a part of our program. You know, Jesse's been with us kind of from the start.
Right.
And, you know, Scott just joined us a year ago, but they're just great people. You know, they come from good families. They are, I think they're having a really good experience here. Just like the whole experience, not just the football side. And,
Right.
And I'm excited about the football they're playing. You know, they both got a lot of football left to play. So I'm excited what the future holds for both of them.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right.
All right, Andrew Pang, go ahead.
Yes, it's Andrew Pang from 24/7 Sports once again. My other question for Coach Brennan, touching on the last 2 times that San Jose State played San Diego State, we know that San Diego State's among the best of the best in the conference. The games were those games were really close by just 3 and 10 points. How confident do you feel in your teams that your team can finally get over the hump? And what's been your message? Since you know, the practice we began to your team in facing this challenge?
My message with my team has been just worry about right now, today. And I think that gets lost a lot of times when you have a big game coming up. And, you know, we needed to focus on practice today. And there's, you know, there's some guys with some, you know, kind of running off the, you know, physical part of Saturday nights today a little bit, kind of working through that soreness and some of that because it's still kind of early. Normally we don't practice on Monday. So that part of it is a little bit different, right? But, you know, just the message is focus on right now. There's a process for us to get prepared to play this game and to play well. And all we can worry about is what we do today. We can't worry about what happens 5 days from now. We just gotta handle today. And so that's how I look at it, Andrew, is just what are you doing right now to get ready for this game? And so far, you know, the players have been good with it. They were really, really diligent today. It was a good practice.
Okay, Derek Al, back to you.
Coach, you guys, Nick Starkel was phenomenal last week. How impressed were you to see him connect with 10 different receivers, and also just with Trey Walker and Bailey Gaither making some unbelievable catches on Saturday night?
Yeah, you know, seeing Bailey and Trey make those plays doesn't surprise any of us. They've been doing it for years here. They do it in practice. And so that was awesome. And, you know, to Nick's credit, I thought he did it in our first game also. Just his ability to distribute the ball, you know, gives us a chance to be an effective offense. I think we drew the same comparison last week talking about Josh Love. That was one of the things that made Josh so effective, was that Josh distributed the ball to multiple people, gave us a chance to be a little more multiple, hard to focus, on just Bailey or Trey or whoever, Deese or whoever. So, Nick's ability to distribute the ball all over the field, sideline to sideline and vertically, I think is, gives us a chance to be really effective offensively. And so that was fun to see.
Victor Aquino, go ahead.
Yeah. Steve said something interesting in 1982, and I remember those teams. To be honest, I'm going to date myself, but I remember Ocamper, I remember Will Height, I remember the culture and the times are just so different. And the question ultimately is like where the character and the culture of the team comes from now, because now I remember when Tyler got hurt a couple seasons back and the whole team went out to him. And I remember seeing Johnny getting beat last weekend and the team came out to him, and then I remember Oregon, how you had them kind of ready to go. Where, is that you? I guess ultimately is that question you or Marie? Maybe that's your question. I don't know, but that intangible you can't really measure. But when you're around, I've been around you a little bit, so I can sense it. You kind of feel it. But and I don't know how it was before you. So to be honest, but that instillment, is that really like you? I guess that's what I'm asking.
I think it's all of our players and coaches kind of putting it together. I think every team feels a little bit different. Every team kind of acts a little bit different. And it's interesting because it's year to year, right? Year to year, you basically swap out 20 to 25% of your team. And so the team, that's a big chunk. And so, other, players impact things in different ways, or, and players definitely impact you culturally in different ways. And so I do think seeing this senior class and some of our upperclassmen kind of handle, some of the team discipline and just kind of bringing everybody together and lifting each other up, and something bad happens, play the next play. I think that definitely comes from our coaching staff and from the older players, because, when our first few years here, we were playing so many young guys, something bad happens, you think it's the end of the game. Like, I can't tell you how many times I said to our team, like, hey, it's the first quarter. Like, we have 3 quarters to play. Like, they just scored 1 field goal. We'll be okay, And so just getting guys, emotionally mature enough to handle the ups and downs of a college football game is, like you look at our game, or you look at San Diego State and Utah State, right? So Utah State, San Diego State's a 10-7 game at half, right? And then you see the final score, you're like, oh, what happened, right? It's college football. As long as you keep playing and you keep working really hard to execute, like, you can have a chance to stay in games. Like, you can find a way to win if you'll keep believing you can and keep playing hard. And, ultimately what happens sometimes is people just get talked out of that, or they're not mature enough to handle something bad happening. And so, I think it's good that our players are supporting each other. I think this team really cares about each other, which I think is critical in terms of I really believe the more connected we are, the more committed we are. And, just what can we do to continue to deepen that connection and to, kind of grow our brotherhood. And I think the more we do that, the harder we'll be to beat on Saturdays.
All right. Any further questions for Coach Brennan?
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Matthew Gonzalez with the Spear. So, Coach Brennan, we've seen the aerial attack be really, really effective these past couple games. How important will the rushing game be in defeating the Aztecs on Friday?
Oh my gosh, you asked the right question. You are so right on, Matthew. We have to run the ball better, man. Like, we have to run the ball more effectively, especially if you're going to win games against good teams and close out those games. And, I felt like we found some of that late in the game the other night, which I was excited about. I thought Tyler Nevins came in and pounded it pretty good. And so did, I also thought Tyler got robbed of a touchdown. I don't know if you guys saw that on TV, but that one, I thought he got in. But he, I thought he helped us. And then Kyrie did a nice job doing that also. So, there's, I feel like in every game there comes a moment where the offense or the defense knows you have to run it, and the offense knows they have to run it. And here comes the run. And can you move it. Can you move people enough? Can you get the ball down the field? And so far, San Diego State has been exceptional at it. They have a beautiful offensive line. They're all seniors, and they're big by. I joke with Marie. I'm like, where do they get these guys? 6'6", 6'5", 6'5", 6'5", 6'6". They got the Pac-12 O-line. I mean, the shortest guys are center at 6'2". So it's just impressive what they've built there. And that's one of the reasons they consistently win, Matthews, because they can run the ball so effectively. So they keep the ball away from their opponent's offense, and they shorten the games.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Andrew Payne, go ahead.
Yes, Coach. And so clearly the reason why this next game is going to be in LA and not San Diego is because San Diego State's stadium is undergoing renovation. So when you look at that, when you look at what's been going on in other places in the conference like Colorado State, how important is it, to put it in perspective, that San Jose State is getting our stadium redone?
That's a great question, Andrew. When we had our groundbreaking, probably a year and a half ago now, I made the statement that this was the most important building in the history of San Jose State athletics. And I believe that. I still believe that. And it's awesome because we're making great progress there. Marie, Charlie Foss, Dr. Papazian, people are, everyone, Rob Clark, everyone is working really hard to raise money and get that thing built. And if you look at it, I really believe young people make decisions in recruiting based on facilities. I know that's not a popular line of reasoning with some people, but it is reality. And the reality that I've seen as a college football coach for as long as I have, especially with this generation right now, is there's such a huge focus on, themselves and me, and it's not their fault. It's how many likes did I get on Twitter? How many retweets did I get? How many hits did I get on social media? Hey, I liked your shoes, yeah, I got 500 retweets for my new Jordans, whatever, right? And so they like the flash, man. And so when they walk into that facility at Colorado State, it's an eye opener. When they walk into the facility at University of Oregon, it's not just an eye opener, it's a knockout punch. It's so incredible for those of you that haven't been there. So anytime young people walk on a campus, one of the questions they ask is how important is football here, or how important are athletics here? And one of the ways that is easily visible and demonstrated is by bricks and mortar and what is built.
All right, thanks very much, Coach. That'll do it for this week's press conference against San Jose State on the road on Friday against San Diego State down in Carson, California. A 6 o'clock kickoff pregame on 680 KNEW this week, KNEW at 5:30 on the Spartan Radio Network, including TuneIn. Thanks so much, everybody, and we'll talk to you next week.
See y'all. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it a lot. You guys are great.